Hey guys, Sarah here. I wanted to give you some updates on what we're doing as it relates to your safety and in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic. As many of you guys know, by trade, I was a registered nurse before I was doing this craziness. And my background primarily was in the emergency room and for a couple years also in labor and delivery. And in the emergency room background, I did that for years as an ER tech while I was in nursing school and then afterwards. And, personal protection equipment was a big deal. And in that environment, you are, walking straight up to patients that you don't know what they have. I was exposed to tuberculosis and tested positive and went through 6 months of treatment for that. And so it's something that I'm very conscientious about and very familiar with. So, as we're going through this pandemic, one of the first things that we really jumped into was this race to secure whatever personal protection equipment that we could for you guys at the same time as everyone, and you guys probably already know this, but the majority of the N95 masks, a large percentage of the production is actually done in China. And of course, they were needing to retain it for themselves. And so we were already experiencing a shortage with that. And then as soon as those first cases started to come to California, that supply chain just got completely, it got shut down. It was just crazy. And so the first order of business was really to rapidly deploy and to make sure that we had all the shoe covers, all the masks that we could find, the gloves. And I'm so proud of the leadership team, the warehouse team, daughter Bonnie, the Moore supply staff. Just a remarkable job of all hands on deck, just jumping in, scouring the web, securing and making sure that we have the right stock. And at the same time, there's like a huge issue with this mask shortage. And, to me, that's just it's not good enough. I'm not wired to accept that something's not possible or that this is just the way it is. I don't think that's how Radiant is wired either. And so, started really researching just kind of what can we do? What was happening over in China? What were they doing in order to get on top of this? What were the Taiwanese? What were these countries doing? And found all these articles written on face masks that they were sewing and the efficacy of filtering particles down to the 0.02 microns of what the coronavirus is. We reached out to Erin Budd, as many of you guys know, our lovely Erin Budd that used to work in our call center and still does a lot of our seamstressing for you guys pants. Reached out to her. She started developing some prototypes, and we've come up with a really cool mask, and these are going to be done on Friday. Also reached out to a uniform company here in Austin that pivoted to doing face mask and did another order so that we would make sure that absolutely all field personnel had access to one, that we were not going to run short, that if we didn't have the N95 mask, that we have an absolute backup plan no matter what. And then I started thinking further, okay, that's great. What next? Okay, so I've got this face mask, we've got this cloth mask, and how are we gonna sterilize these things? Going into, from home to home to home, I'm not super wild about that. It's better than nothing, and that's good, but this can't be the only way. So the next thing that I discovered was these UV light boxes that actually plug in, with a USB in your car. And this UV light box, when you shut the lid, that sucker is gonna, it's going to start to work, and there's like 4 lights on all sides. You can stick your cell phone and your mask in there at the same time. And these boxes, it was a variation of some boxes that they started to use in China, which ironically, this is also kind of crazy to me. If you take the box that a spa uses to sterilize equipment in between guests, it's basically, you know, that kind of technology with UV lights for the sterilization. So they made these small boxes, and I think we bought like 70 of these suckers, so that every single vehicle that Radiant has is going to be outfitted with one of these, so that you could stick your mask in it in between uses, and that is going to disinfect it, and then you're going to be good to go for the next visit. You know, I realize I'm just like talking like a crazy person here, so I'm sorry. But I kind of want to get into a little bit of why I kind of skipped a really important part, and it's near and dear to my heart, and it's you guys to Brad and I are our family. Brad and I we don't have friends outside of the Radiant family, to be honest. We're crazy people. We work, and the people that we work with are our family and our immediate family members, and beyond that, that's it. That's you know, all we really have room for in our lives right now. And I grew up as one of 7 kids, and I very much understand what that means to work together and what a family has to do to take care of a family. I went through incredibly difficult times, you know, in my childhood with, you know, we lost our home, and there was just, my dad was having to work 3 jobs, and you just collectively, you worked together and you took care of your family no matter what. You know, on a personal note, my youngest sister, Kate, who's 12 years younger, just recently, about 3 weeks ago, was diagnosed with breast cancer. Complete shocker. One of the healthiest people you've ever met. And I'm walking through this for the last couple of weeks, and it's been a burden, you know, to really think about. It's weighed very heavily, the thought of any one of you guys walking into a customer's home, being exposed like I was to TB, to putting our customers in the place of just thinking about my sister, you know, and she just started chemo on Friday. And Roy, thank you, Roy, went and installed a Remy Halo device at her house the day before she started chemo. And I was just thinking, it's like, what do we need to do? Like, how can we take this as incredibly seriously as we need to for Kate? How do we take this seriously for Roy as he's entering the house, if Kate, you know, had it and didn't know? And Roy did a fabulous job, you know, doing the things that all you guys are doing, of putting on the shoe protection, putting on the gloves, keeping that great social distance. And I just can't tell you guys how much I appreciate that. And I also, I'm really taking this seriously as you guys being part of our family, taking this seriously, that we're doing absolutely everything that we can to make sure that you guys are safe. And just because the CDC has come out and said shoe covers and gloves and masks when you find it are okay, that's not okay for me. We can do more. And so the next thing after the UV light box for the mask was just thinking about, okay, how do we filter the air on your clothing? You know, so you may have come in contact with somebody that doesn't know that they're sick. How can we do the same technology of what's happening with those Remy air purifiers, and how can we now do that in the cab so that you have some level of really breathing in the healthiest purified air as you're in your truck. And so we got those next. We got these air purifiers for each one of your trucks. And those also are on the way. I'm hoping that they're here by Friday, but they could be into next week, but they're on the way. And a lot of people were on that one across the nation. Like I started to see they were getting bought up, and I'd find something and see it, and then we'd order it, and then the next thing I'd know, they'd be out of stock, and there was a cancellation, and it's been something else. But there's more. And so I started on this jaunt, over the weekend of like, what the fuck? Like, how do we do this? How did China do this? Like, how do you start to really sterilize things that you're now having to reuse? Because they're having to reuse the same mask over there if they can get it. And, I mean, they're using bandanas and stuff. Like, I mean, this is insanity. And I came across an article written by a Taiwanese journal that they were starting to do some research, and it had worked with the SARS virus pandemic in China, of using the ozone generators to basically sanitize and kill the SARS virus in different rooms. And that got me to thinking, is like, we know about the Remy halos, we know about the eye waves, we know about these things that are possible. Why can't we take this in this application of the technicians, the back of you guys' trucks, and the stuff that we're pulling in and out of people's homes? You still have to 100% do the protocol, the videos that your managers are sending to you guys about spraying them down with the cleaning product and wiping them down and disposing and following all that. But how do we take this to the next level? How am I going to feel really good that we did everything that we could? And that next step is what I found was that you could get these ozone generator boxes that have the UV lights. And so this HVAC leadership team, Chris, everybody, here I am, I'm emailing them over the weekend and saying, sorry guys, I know it's the weekend, but it's time to get to work. We got to figure this out. And they all jumped in, and we dialogued about it. And what we did was we came across this machine. I pulled the trigger. I bought 70 of them online. I thought, man, I'm just, I'm hoping and praying these things are going to come. And then, of course, just a couple days ago, like 3 days ago, I get this notification that order was canceled because somebody else had purchased them. And then Ben Pena came through for me with more, and he found some. And I got confirmation 2 days ago that those suckers are arriving. They are going to be here Thursday and Friday. And we're currently working on the protocol of how you guys can plug that in. We may encourage use in between calls, but if nothing else, we're going to provide a way for you guys to plug that in and run it for the prescribed amount of time at the end of the day in your box, and just really sterilize the shit out of it the best that we can. And I'm feeling really good about that. And then I get on to the journal, JAMA. I don't know if you guys know, this is like Journal of something Medical Association. And they're crowdsourcing right now with MDs on how to solve this. And again, ozone and UV is listed repeatedly as options. And that's something that's that the frontline people are doing. At the end of the day, I can't guarantee that the actions of what we're doing is like the holy grail of this, but I do want to let you know how seriously it is that I'm taking it, how all of the leadership team is taking this. You are our family. We want to ensure that we're doing absolutely everything that we can to slow the spread, the rate of exposure. I want you guys to feel great about doing what you're doing, that you're not having to worry, that you have the equipment that you need, and that you have a way to sterilize and sanitize when you're coming home. This is, I mean, your families are very, very important to us. And so currently we've invested north of 20K in this, not done researching. I don't know, like a couple days from now, I may have updated recommendations. The leadership team may have updated recommendations, but this is what we're putting together right now. So be looking for something coming from your managers on when we have your packet ready to go of your things, and we'll tell you how to use them and get that rolling. I can't express to you how much we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. We're committed to providing the safest experience and writing this out in a way that is going to be with excellence, that is driven with excellence. It's driven with excellence with your safety, with our customer safety. And anyway, that's it. Peace out. I've talked too long, but anyway, that's what I had to say. I love you guys. Bye.